Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and I kind of think we're at a point of peak quality. Stuff is just so good, and it only gets better. Now this is an example here. This is Klein's new slim Bluetooth earmuffs. What these are designed for is obviously a work environment where you get a 23 decibel noise reduction, but you also can pipe in whatever music or audio books or podcasts or any kind of thing you want to connect Bluetooth to this, and it's also Bluetooth 5.4, which is amazing. I mean, it's like instant connectivity, stays connected even at distance it seems, and interference is much less. Plus on board there's a really nice sounding woman inside here. Here, listen to this. I'll turn it on. I'll hold it up to my microphone here.
Power on.
Hope you heard that. Anyway, she seems nice and you know, interested in what's going on here. Compared this, and I thought this woman sounded pretty good too, probably more in the office space. Listen.
Power on.
That was the previous version, and then the one I had before this was the Work Tunes, 3M Work Tunes, and it was really robotic. So anyway, they're playing around with some things, so I could see them having some fun, you know, arguing around the boardroom is exactly what kind of a voice. Notice it's not a man's voice, and notice it doesn't have an accent, you know, an Australian accent. Apparently a female Australian accent is what males in America tend to listen to the most, I've heard or read in studies. But anyway, it fits very well. This is the previous version that I absolutely loved, and I do know some people had a little bit of trouble getting it to fit right, and I think that's because these finally had to sort of mold to your head, and these are fairly firm, especially compared to these. These are kind of soft all the way around. Whereas these are a little soft here, but they're fairly firm here. So durability is probably higher here, except I'm starting to get a little separation. You know, these get used hard and used by a lot of people. So finally you realize where some limits are, but I've had no issue whatsoever with the sound, the electronics, or anything. But these feel so good, and they just melt on your head. Now I compared them instead of to other earmuffs. That'd be easy. Instead, I'm comparing them to my Beats here. These Beats sell for about 180 bucks. Sound quality very similar, believe it or not. And these Kleins are actually more comfortable than these Beats over time. You know, my ear is not shaped like that. I don't know if yours is. Whose would be a kind of a strange round shape. But after a while, these just aren't that comfortable. But they are very soft. Quality-wise, excellent. Definitely, high-end audio, but I'm getting, especially in general work environments, you know, or lawns, landscaping, whatever, these are excellent, really. I mean, it's kind of shocking. I'm sure if you sat in a quiet room and listened to certain kinds of music, yeah, you could tell that there's a difference, but for audio especially, or voice, you know, for podcasts and books, just wonderful. They do have a little bit higher end on the volume. These apparently can go up to 88 decibels. These were 70 something. Not that I push things that hard, and maybe that's not a good thing, I don't know. But it also, here's the thing that caught me. It's a 50-hour battery life, and I started thinking about that, and I know the trades are a little bit rough sometimes, but 50 hours seems more like a week than a day. And Klein says, so you get a full day's worth of listening out of it. And I thought, okay. But then I guess there are times when you're really pushing it. Long hours, double shifts, things like that. And maybe you want to wear them the entire time. So maybe 50 hours is reasonable. This one I think had about 70 hours of battery life. And I would charge this thing about once a month just to make sure it was topped off. I think this thing's like 8 hours on a good day downhill with the wind. But anyway, overall the fit, it's nicer. You can tell that they are, you know, upgrading. It's little tiny things because this was not bad at all. They have slimmed it. They've softened it. They have made this more comfortable. It slides in and out a little bit easier here. That was one of the things. If you hand this to somebody and they don't know what they're doing, they're going to probably put it on kind of cattywampus, not realizing that you can adjust these easily if they're not used to the different kinds. Many of them, you know, might pull from the top like that, or the same with the Beats right there. So coming in from down here is a little bit of a different experience. And also the slim line of this, you end up with a you know, less profile if you're wearing a hoodie in the morning because it's cold or something like that. They do fit over a hat. I've had no trouble with that, but they are not designed for hard hats or, you know, helmets or anything like that. They did get rid of the audio input jack. You can see it's just a straight USB-C there. In the previous version, you could plug that in, so if you happen to have a an old CD player or cassette deck or something, or whatever people plugged into these things. For a while, I used an old AM/FM radio transmitter. But now, you know, everything's going through my phone. As far as phone calls, by the way, these are crystal clear, just excellent. Good mic. I've talked to people. They said, no, it sounds fine, sounds normal. Whereas some of these are a little echoey, you know, or distant or tin canny or like you're in a barrel. It does have some general controls, same as this one. The fast ones are, you know, plus minus for audio, stop, pause, break into the phone, but then you can also go forward. There are a few other things that it can do. Neat design, $80, $79.95, something like that, compared to like $180 for those. There is another version of this one. This one here is the AE-SEM1. I don't think it's made anymore. They have an AE-SEM1S for kind of a sensory, or excuse me, kind of a sound awareness around you. It's $109, and it probably has a lot of other capability in certain environments. My guess, I don't have one, but I think it has external microphones, so it's probably similar to those in the staple sports industries. This one doesn't have that, but most of the time you don't need that. And small, light, fairly light. It's lighter than this one. It's about 70 grams heavier than the Beats here. About 40 grams heavier than just a big old set of giant earmuffs. I mean, look at that. It's almost half the thickness of one side of these big old inexpensive ones that really don't fit that great, but they're way better than nothing. So here's my little lecture, especially to you young folks out there. Don't screw up with PPE, especially gloves, your ears, your eyes, and a helmet or hard hat. Get whatever will be a one that you like and you wear. You are not embarrassed. I see people don't want to wear stuff because they don't like the color or whatever. But here's the deal. One doctor visit offsets the cost of anything. So if you mess up somehow, you're around a really loud noise, or you think it's important, so you're working hard and ignoring, just how loud something is, and then suddenly now you're paying $2,000-$3,000 for a good set of hearing aids. It's a mess. Or glasses, or eye surgery, or you've injured your hands. I mean, they're pretty delicate compared to iron and steel and wood and cement. So there's my lecture. Get good stuff and peak quality here. This is all good stuff. I mean, these are fine. These are amazing. My old work tunes, I was thrilled when I first got those. I was thrilled when I first got my first Walkman, a cassette player and then a CD player. And, it was just crazy. And here we go, even better, even nicer, even slimmer. So there it is. The Klein Tools AE-SEM2 23 decibel noise reduction Bluetooth headphones with a very nice person inside there. Tells you what's going on. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. And with that, Doc out.